Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. There was a Star Citizen town hall focusing on some really important game mechanics and tech, probably one of the most informative pieces we've had in ages actually. This video is a summary of that 1 hour live stream that they did. Planets, atmospheric flight. So from viewing the Gamescom gameplay, it looks like atmospheric flight behaves very similar to space flight, though this is not the intention going forward. There are differences currently, there's turbulence and there's a different feel when you're in atmosphere at the moment, even when you fly in 3.0. You'll have to see this yourselves when you actually play apparently, but you'll have to do like different types of corrections and the way you move is slightly different. They are actively working on gravity and atmospheric flight at the moment though, as well as general physics for the IFCS, which is the Intelligent Flight Computer Control System stuff. So beyond 3.0, wind will be a thing, for example, and wind in some situations might overpower your IFCS at times. The IFCS may be able to account for a lot of gravity as well, but it will affect the way your ship flies and feels being in gravity and atmosphere, although, as I said, the IFCS may negate a lot of that effect. Planets and moons will each have various assets or features, making them feel and look unique. Plants and animals can be procedurally placed and, maybe especially in the case of plants, be procedurally generated as well. But this is going to be based on a very strict set of rules, using very high quality assets. Pretty much everything in Star Citizen has had the artist's kind of touch to it in some regard as well. They do look at all of these assets. They don't just procedurally generate everything, it's procedurally assisted generation. They want animals in Star Citizen to not look like Spore or No Man's Sky animals, and they are likely going to be very, very artist-driven animals-wise and that sort of stuff when you're looking at planets, because they want that unique vibe, but they don't want weird, like a tentacle face that doesn't make any sense with goat legs. You know what I mean? In regards to orbits and orbiting, everything inside a planet's zone will geosynchronously rotate with the planet. Even if you're outside the actual atmosphere of a planet above it, as long as you're still in the planet's zone, which will be quite large, you'll still be geosynchronous with it. Asynchronous orbits are not in yet. If you are nearby a planet, you'll just travel, rotate, and orbit with it. There are no parachutes or ways to survive ejecting in atmosphere in 3.0, although I'm sure some people would try, and I'm sure some people will somehow survive ejecting in atmosphere in 3.0. That's the sort of stuff we'll be testing. For the future though, they are looking for ways to survive ejecting. Obviously they want people to be able to crash on planets and survive there and get picked up again. They're considering jetpacks, jump packs, parachutes, as well as making the falling animations better as well at the moment. Weather. So weather will affect item and vehicle degradation and look. It may also have buffs and debuffs, slowing your characters down or damaging you if you're not in the right protective gear, and there are going to be various weather systems in the future to look forward to on different planets, and that's going to be kind of down to what the planet or moon is like. Characters. So they've been working more on character customization. At the moment, they're looking at the very first iterations of that for us. It's very basic. They're looking at 9 faces, hair, eyes, some choice of features, colours of those features, and eventually the female model will get in there too, but not in the first stages. In the future, expect much more. Short term, it's more to test the persistence of character changes and to get the basics in. And in regards to that female model, it is something they're working on for the future. Not for 3.0, but the skeleton, the animations and proportions are all being worked on. They are really trying to make it look good, and it's important that it's treated separately to the male model, as its movements, interaction, and even proportions are different. They are making sure that all of the assets are one-to-one. Everything that the male model can do, the female model will be able to do, and it's planned to be released all at the same time in a patch focusing on characters in the future. FOIP, or Face over IP. This is going to work with most webcams, microphones, and will work with people wearing glasses and even facial hair. If you've got big facial hair, that will work with that too. At the moment, they are having issues, and they're doing some more work with facial hair stuff. Obviously, if you've got a giant beard, IRL, camera's going to have a hard time reading your expressions, but they are working on that at the moment. They confirmed that the data from the face over IP isn't recorded in any way for marketing or anything. Other things that they talk about with FOIP as well is that obviously if you're eating or chewing in real life, it will look weird on your camera. They're thinking of having voice over IP on by default, but face over IP off by default, and then you'll have to turn them on the options, and there's going to be ways to mute both VoIP and FOIP in-game as well. So sometimes if you're on the phone or if you're eating, as I said earlier, you're not going to want that FOIP to be on. Character equipment, weapons, and armor damage states are something that might come in the future as a more long-term thing, but equipment and items in the shorter term will degrade over time and require repair or maintenance, or risk becoming less effective, breaking down or jamming. Damage will contribute as well to the degradation of an item, and this will be for systems as well, power generators and stuff. They'll get slower and less effective over time. But actual flesh and bone damage states on characters, they might be considered in the future again, but that they'd have to have a very good solution for it. They don't want to waste time on something that's not going to look good or is super resource hungry and no one can use. But it's possible as a long-term goal after release, things like bruising might occur. Ship damage maps and bullet holes or deformation damage is extremely resource hungry. But they want stuff to look great, but they need to consider people's PCs. They are still fleshing out exactly what they want to do for the FPS and character stuff when it comes to those damage states. They may, and they will, implement shaders to show dirt, age, and wear. That's going to be their first implementation of kind of the degradation and look of items. Dust and dirt will accumulate over time. Wear is like chips and bumps and damage to an item. It may show the layers underneath the surfaces of an item as paint gets chipped off or literally gashes get made in some of your armor. Age will also affect like the colors and material of an item by making it look faded. Star Citizen's assets are already built with all of that in mind. Some additional types of damage like burning, acid and warping, they take a bit more effort, but they are certainly having a look at them. And you're going to certainly, in the shorter term, be able to tell at a glance if a player's had a gun, their armor, or even a ship for a long period of time, as you will see that age and dust and wear and all that sort of stuff on something versus something that's just come off the shop floor. Titan armor. Titan armor is being worked on. They've been doing the 3D concepting in high poly for that Titan armor, as well as looking at rigging. They've had him like walking around in engine, I think, as well. They were using size 1 and possibly size 2 ship weapons for some of their armaments, and that was causing traversal problems. It couldn't get around structures or corridors very well due to the length of these guns. But it's nice to know that's the sort of firepower they are looking at. They are looking at them to be small little ships, more firepower possibly than the bikes. It sounds like they wanted a more maneuverable, like very heavy suit of armor, or a battle suit rather than a power loader or a mech. The Titan is a very important asset, they've said, and they will be revisiting it when they need it in the future. They learned a lot from their latest concepting of it as well. They haven't finished fleshing out exactly what ships it will be able to fit into, or exactly what mobility and movement it's going to have, but they'll tell us more as they go forward. But it does sound like they do want it to be on the smaller side of mech. As I said, very heavy battle suit. Other stuff as well. So Star Citizen and Spectrum mods and API access is still planned, but it's very low priority at the moment. They are planning to look at external apps and cool peripheral support. Maybe they'll have the native ability to have phones and tablets set up as the control panels or MFDs in the future, but at the moment they're focusing on core gameplay. The plans for Spectrum's desktop Steam-like overlay will allow for communication to other devices much more easily as well, as that's what it's planned to support. It's planned to work on your phone and your desktop and all that sort of jazz. The ship stats and matrix pages, which contain 106 ships and variants apparently at the moment. That's planned to be updated in the next month or two. At least that's the intention of their update. This is going to be great. This is going to show so much more information on each of the ships, and that information will be accurate now on their website. So we'll be able to compare ships much more accurately, see the intention of those ships, and lots of videos will occur when we do like ship buyers guides and things. A major point that was driven constantly throughout that town hall as well was that quality and fidelity are super important, but so is getting as many players as possible into an area at the same time. Optimization, different PC systems, that sort of stuff. They don't want anything to be super resource hungry. And some features that they do want to put in, or because people will see this as feature creep all the time, they are shelving those features, or they're looking to put them in much after release. So you don't have to worry about them constantly adding feature creep or anything to the game. Yes, I'm sure that there are going to be some support systems that they do put into the game that we haven't heard of yet, or something that they might see in the future that they go, well, we need this for this to work better with planetary tech or something. They are certainly in the early stages of some of that gameplay, especially with some of the mechanics. We haven't seen science properly yet, or anything like that, or even heard about it since the concepting of some of the science ships. So just bear that in mind. I'm expecting some form of beta for Star Citizen in 2019. I think that's a reasonable target for them to try and hit. But with Star Citizen, it is a long-term project, and it makes me very excited to be able to get into it at this stage and affect its development in the way that we all can, and that's the part of that open development thing. Anyway, that's me ranting. Every month we give away a ship. For September it's a Nox Q. All you need to do is be subscribed to my YouTube channel and then comment on any of my videos during that month that are Star Citizen based. Any questions about the Town Hall, Alpha 3.0 or Star Citizen's development in general, chuck them down below. A special thank you to my Patreons for allowing me to create the amount of content I do. If you're interested in becoming one of them, then you can find the link to Patreon as well as everything else we've talked about down below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really does help me, and I will see you in the verse.